Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is my Wisdom Wednesday video, my special series on my journey with cancer, video number 52. So, I'm sitting in a beautiful, quiet space here at Moore's Cancer Center, and it's interesting how the sound of the bamboo leaves is just, it reminds me of rain. It's very therapeutic. And I don't know, I'm needing that right now. I'm needing the grounding of this sort of mini forest bathing and allowing myself to just sort of dial back in. Again, been an interesting week. I had a lot of physical pain, unfortunately, but I think it's probably life just catching up with me. I guess I really, I rode it hard for a long time, and, with being an athlete and using my body hard, it's now letting me know exactly how much of that I did and what I need to pay attention to, in addition to, managing living with my myeloma. So it was an interesting visit with Dr. Caitlin Costello today. Hopefully I don't jiggle too much. I've had a couple more vaccinations in my 2-year revaccination strategy here. It's maybe one of the first times where I asked Dr. Costello, how much time I had left on the planet. And it's interesting how I kind of, sorry, we've got Top Gun flying overhead. There we go. It's interesting how I struggle to a certain degree to say, to articulate my question, and she came right out and finished my sentence. And I suppose just the nature of her work, she probably gets asked that question all the time. But this was the first time I'd ever asked it. And part of that is just, I've been feeling a lot of the symptoms that I felt before the transplant. And so, it's worrisome, right? And she said again, there are people who live with myeloma for a long time. And especially with the science being as good as it is now, within a year, their stats are outdated. And so she said that, it's her belief that in her lifetime, a cure will be had for this disease. And I love hearing that, of course. And it's interesting. It's interesting that, the first bet was on 5 years. If you can make it to 5 years, then let's see if we can get you to 10 years. And if you make it to 10 years, then we'll go a year at a time. And so this time, we've got our 5-year bet in front of us, and I have been doing so much planning and mapping and life planning and retirement planning and estate building and yes, see what I mean? One big jiggle in my head. And I just knew I had to come out here to this beautiful little space so that I could kind of ground, because it spins my head. It spins my head trying to think of all of that stuff, especially at a time where I'm launching wonderful courses and launching a mastermind, and stay tuned, by the way. Just interesting to try to kind of be in all places at once. And I don't know how many of you feel like there are times where you're trying to manage things that don't seem to be manageable all at the same time. So what do you do in those circumstances? And for me, a big message, big piece of wisdom is ground between. So if you have a medical thing, ground between, then go on to the work thing, then ground again, go take a walk, then go on to the home thing, then ground again. And for me, that seems to be the answer at how to multitask safely and to be able to have some reverence and presence with each different section. So this is Wisdom Wednesdays. This is Dr. Sage Breslin. I wish you well if it's day or evening, wherever you are.